Hello, everyone, and welcome to our weekly MLM Mastermind hour-a-day training. My name is Craig Peliquin.
And I'm Dennis Wilson.
And today we are talking about follow-up.
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 And follow-up some more.
And then follow-up again.
Can you follow up too much, Dennis?
I'm not sure. I think maybe you should try to follow up.
Yeah, or maybe when you finish following up, follow up again.
Follow up.
Exactly. Yeah. And now there's all different types of ways, and we're going to take some time to share with you why the importance of follow-up, because really that's where most people in sales, I did say sales.
Yes.
MLM is actually, there is sales involved.
Where most people in dating as well.
follow up, but they fail in the follow-up.
Yep.
It's so easy to make the initial contact. It's so
Well, hang on.
Come on.
For a lot of people, it's not easy to make the first contact, which is why it's even more bizarre that after making the first contact and getting a little bit of interest on that contact, people then fail to follow up.
Yeah.
I think it's easier to follow up with someone I think is interested than to phone another total stranger to see if he might be.
Well, and I'll use my LinkedIn system that we taught people. If you've gone and been on our webinars in the past, we did talk about how to go prospect effectively on LinkedIn, going out reaching to just 10 people every single day. That would be 300 people a month. Follow-up is really important, and having a system to be able to do that. Fortunately, the hour-a-day system
helps keep you on top of your follow-up.
It does, but there's many different kinds of ways to follow up.
And let's go specifically with your LinkedIn system. You're probably thinking that if you found them on LinkedIn, you should just keep following up and following up and following up and following up on LinkedIn.
Part of it. You do have to do a little bit of follow-up on LinkedIn, but you also need to pick up that 500-pound thing called a telephone.
Yeah, or a text message, or you need to have multi-stream follow-up going on in today's world.
Yeah.
I think it's even more true with LinkedIn. There's a lot of people that only look at their LinkedIn once a month.
Yeah.
I hardly ever look at my LinkedIn unless one of my personal assistants tells me that there's something I need to go look at.
Right. So think about it that way. Now, with the LinkedIn system that we use, the hour-a-day system allows you a bunch of different ways to follow up with somebody, and then reminds you where you are in the process. So, for example, to give you, here's a real-life example. If I connect with somebody on LinkedIn, and I've also got their information when they accept my connection, I then ask for permission to send them information about what I'm doing.
Yep.
So I never just immediately send. It's always a nice connection. And thanks for connecting. Maybe we can help each other. Would it be okay to send you some information? My first follow-up, because I met him on LinkedIn, is always a LinkedIn message.
Yes. And that makes sense.
It does. But then after that, if I'm able to find out what their email address is, I'm able to typically get their phone number sometimes. Yeah. The more information I have, the more follow-up ways that I can follow up with the hour-a-day system.
And to me, the way I would look at it is if I sent them a LinkedIn message and I got an instant response, I know they're possibly active LinkedIn users. But I'd also be using my brain on it, right? I'd be putting a note that says, hey, sent a LinkedIn, got a LinkedIn response, putting it into hour-a-day. So next time if I do the same thing and I don't get an instant response, I could go, okay, maybe it was just luck that he replied instantly, and maybe this time I should reach out by phone or email. So you gotta adjust what you're doing based upon the feedback you're getting. If you send someone a LinkedIn follow-up after they've said they want more information and they don't answer you for a month, and then you send them something, eventually they answer you, and then they don't answer for a month, you need to change your way. You need to realize that this is a person I need to get on the phone or I need to do something.
Yeah.
Then if it's all going well on LinkedIn, you also want to consider that continuing to just use LinkedIn is going to run into a brick wall.
Yeah. And LinkedIn, you're not going to be able to follow up with one method like that and think that somebody's going to join your MLM because you sent them a couple of links. Eventually, the follow-up to have any success, and I'm going to say this right now, to have any success in your follow-up, you need to pick up the phone and you need to make a call. You need to make a connection, a real live connection.
And remember, this is sort of part of the thing, right? You're making a connection. And if you make a strong enough connection, you may get an immediate sale, right? If you're really, really good, you may get an immediate sale. If you're not so good and you don't make such a good connection, then you're going to need to continue to follow up until you've formed a big enough connection for the triangle between trust, respect, and boom, sale or new prospect.
Right.
So you got to be cognizant of the steps that it takes and where you're at in the process. And yes, the phone. When you pick up the phone and talk to someone, you form a deeper relationship much more quickly. It's heavy and it's hard.
Well, it is. But what people get used to on the phone is the fact that now most of the social media, text messaging, everything can be done without ever picking up the phone and putting it to your ear.
And you know what? There are systems out there that teach you to do exactly that. And I can tell you, man, people get rich off of those systems.
That's right.
The problem is it's the guy selling you the system that gets rich. It never actually builds your business.
I mean, ask yourself, how many times has somebody just followed up with a Facebook message or an email by spam because you weren't expecting it, or a LinkedIn message or a text message where you went and clicked the link and pulled out your credit card and joined?
Yeah.
I mean, ask yourself. I mean, really.
And okay, let's use me as an example. So I run an IT company. Okay. I'm working with software developers all the time. I'm up to speed, I like to think, on most of the current technology and tools and stuff going on. And I can tell you right now that if you got a hold of me on Facebook, first of all, you wouldn't get at me through Facebook. But if you got a hold of me on LinkedIn and you sent me a LinkedIn messenger, I've already got a filter. If my personal assistant doesn't think what you've sent is worthy of talking to me, in other words, if it's not personalized, you don't seem to know me, there doesn't seem to be something in it for me other than you pitching me to buy something.
Right.
You're not going to even get through to me. So let's say you did. Let's say you got through to me on LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. Then you sent me another LinkedIn message that wasn't worthy. I'm not watching it just because I've replied. And my social media guy is deciding if it's worth me talking to you again. So what if you decided to get my Facebook information and get me on Facebook? That's a good move, right? Because now if I've let you onto my Facebook, it means we formed enough of a relationship to put you on Facebook. But what if the next thing you sent me was a Facebook Messenger? Because that's easy, right?
Yeah.
You haven't phoned me yet, but you managed to have enough rapport that we gave out my Facebook. So you've done that. That's cool. The problem is I check Facebook sometimes every 5 minutes. And when I'm actually busy working, I check Facebook once every 3 days. And I don't have notifications turned on because I do business in Europe where everything is WhatsApp. Yeah. I do business in Japan where everything is Line. I do business in China where everything is WeChat. I do Viber. I do Facebook Messenger for Japan as well. I have all of these tools that just pester my phone full of stuff, and none of it's important enough. Anything important enough, it's going to phone me.
There you go.
Someone who really wants my time is going to phone me. And then I might just start paying attention to the thing and go, oh, geez, I got something from John who's now important enough to do something with.
Yeah.
Otherwise, your little sentence that says, hey, it's John again, that doesn't make me open it. So I may be the unusual case, but I have built $1 million MLM business. So if you're not doing stuff that attracts a person who already is successful and can do it, maybe you need to change your ways. So I just think it's ridiculous how people get stuck on their mobile devices and think they can do it all with picking up the phone. Well, that was a rather long. A
little rant. Well, you know, but if we don't get, I mean, then, so let's talk about other follow. Let's talk about appropriate follow-up.
Yes.
And inappropriate follow-up. And I'm going to start off with inappropriate.
Okay.
I do, because I mean, I do have some pet peeves.
Right. Okay.
And I'm going to go on a little rant myself.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. Because
here we go.
There is nothing more frustrating.
Wind him up.
Oh, nothing more frustrating, because I do a lot on LinkedIn, than when somebody follows up to me and they ask me, what do I do? Oh my. And I can't tell you how many times.
Yeah.
They want me to go, they ask an open-ended question. Oh, I saw your Facebook. Tell me a little bit more about you.
Everything's on Facebook. Everything's on LinkedIn. Read my darn profile.
Yeah.
Sorry, I stole your thunder.
Well, you know, and then because of my position as the VP of an MLM company, people don't read my profile. They don't look at I literally in my profile now have, I am not an MLM prospect. Because I don't know why, Dennis, but people think because I have MLM experience, and even though I might be corporate with an MLM company.
Well, you might change your mind, Craig.
You know, somehow that means I would be interested in joining them in their MLM opportunity.
On the side, because, you know, we won't tell your company that you're in it, Craig.
Yeah. So I literally had to put that. And even though it is in big, bold letters on my LinkedIn profile, I still get prospected. Can you believe that? People don't read.
They don't read your profile.
They don't read the profile.
Yeah.
So the biggest mistake that people make is they use automated systems. They just cut and paste, and they don't care. They're going after quantity, not quality, and you're going to end up with this. You will get nothing out of it.
You might get the odd sale that refunds out.
But you're going to tick off. I would use a different word, but I'm going to say tick off a whole bunch of people that could be really good allies. Because the one thing, if you're going to connect with other networkers, you want to make friends first.
Because it's a timing thing.
Yeah. And you never know what's going to happen down the road. But if somebody, all they did was pitch me. Do you think if anything down the road ever happened that I was actually looking to get involved as a distributor again, do you think that you are the one that I'm going to pick?
Not a chance.
There's no way. Now, you've got a good story on that with a good friend of yours where you guys met. You were both at different companies, and you agreed not to pitch each other.
Yeah, so we'll date myself. So I used to do relentless fax campaigns.
What's a fax?
Back when people actually had thermal paper. And I was sending it all from a computer. So every now and then someone would get mad and they'd send me a looped fax back that went on for 59 pages going, and then another page after that saying, ha, I bet your fax is out of paper now. And I thought to myself, this is weird because A, it just was a big digital thing. And if my fax was out of paper, I never would have got the one that chastised me. So you should have said that. Anyway, whole different, I got sidetracked. Anyways, a good friend of mine became a good friend of mine. We met within 5 minutes. We had realized that I'm not joining him. He's not joining.
Right.
So we both said, you know what? We're here. It's lunch. You don't prospect me. I won't prospect you. Let's be friends and mentors to each other. And we actually stayed true to that. I stayed true to it. He stayed true to it. We never, even if we were talking about what's going on in our companies, you know, some could say he was prospecting when we said, oh, we've just brought on a really big designer who's helping to support our cosmetics line, blah, blah, blah. And I could have been said that I was doing, oh, we just brought on a poker room and that's exciting for my people. But it was never like, it wasn't in a sort of prospecting way. It was an update on where we were at, what was working, what wasn't working, you know, because followed behind the amazing lady in the cosmetic line, there was the fact that, oh my God, cosmetics are hard because there's 19 shades of everything. Right. So it was always very realistic about our business, but it wasn't prospecting. I did eventually have my company end out of business and his company kept going. And guess who I went straight to say, I'm looking. And then he dissed me just a little bit because I said, I'm looking. He didn't call me back. So then I sent him the next one. I said, I'm looking. And if you don't call me back, I'm joining under someone else. Got a call back in 5 minutes. He was in his car downtown, big box of products. I was signed up before you know it, flew down to Utah. Imagine that.
MLM company in Utah. Okay.
Yeah. And next thing you know it, away we went.
Yeah.
That was 10 years from him replying to my fax to reverse prospect me.
So
to me joining him.
But also shows follow-up, shows friendship. It shows why you make friends first. If you go in the idea, in the cold market especially, what we're talking about, to make friends first with somebody, you're going to have that long-term goal of connection.
And, you know, I've changed my feeling about the word friend just a little bit recently, Craig. I think what you're trying to do is you're trying to make a connection first. And once you've made a connection, if you can feed that to a very immediate product sale, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
That's true.
But it's when you're trying to push a product sale before you've made a connection, or if you're doing wide open prospecting where everybody counts and then you're trying to ram a product. So I think it sort of depends. If you're doing really targeted marketing to only find people that are only looking for anti-aging skincare, then that's a different scenario because that prospect's a different level. So you might go right in for a sale with that because they were already sifted and sorted in the process. So I love the friends first, and I've always said it.
And I get that. No,
but yeah, I think connection first because you can go all the way to the sale if you've targeted properly. But if you're wide open prospecting, yeah, friends first is the best hope.
Well, I mean, and to me, my goal when I'm in cold market prospecting, when I'm on LinkedIn, my goal is to get on the phone and introduce myself as quickly as possible. It's not to get on the phone and sell it.
No.
Not on that first connection, not that first or second connection.
It's to see if there's a connection.
It's just to see, hey, this is who I am. Here's what I'm doing. Can we set up a time to talk further? I just want to find out more about you. It's always trying to find out more, get them talking, find out what they're doing. See if there is an open, because if somebody is focused on what they're doing, they're not going to be a prospect. So go and share with them some of the tools that you're using, like the hour-a-day system.
There you go.
Share with them a training that you may have coming up.
That's generic.
Share with them a place out there that can help them.
Share
a tool, an app,
Eric
something.
Ward, GoPro. Share them tools that can work, that are generic, that aren't pitching any particular program.
Right. And make friends. I do say that. Just make
if it's a networker.
Make,
And if it's not a networker, still think about what kind of tool could you have. You got Small Business Dream, free. It's like the hour a day for small business instead of for MLM. So you could go down that road to create the connection. I've got this great tool. In fact, I use it in my business, and I use another version of it in my side business. They might ask a question, what's your side business? In which case, answer truthfully.
Right.
I'm involved in network marketing on the side. If you'd like to hear about it, I'd love to sit down and talk to you about it. Don't avoid the question, but don't get into it on that call.
Yeah. So
put it off.
So the idea here in follow-up is that there's a lot of different ways to follow up. And if you're not seeing success, maybe you're not mixing up your follow-up.
Yeah,
we kind of get caught in a rut, I think, sometimes.
I think, I do it. I do a lot of text message follow-up through my MLM software company because I qualify people. On my form, it says, how would you like me to communicate? And if it says text message, they go into a text message series. I'm not just blasting text messages. Don't do that. That doesn't work either. Once you have permission to text message, you do. But I've also found that people give me the thing saying text message me, and then they give me a landline. So I'm sitting there thinking they're ignoring me. And then I finally pick up the phone and call them. I never got your text messages. Well, hang on. You said you wanted to be communicated by SMS. Yeah, I do prefer that. Well, is this your number? Yeah, that's my office number. How am I supposed to text message you to your office number? You know what? I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
So you're assuming that they're getting it. They're not even getting it. Same as your Facebook. If someone has notifications turned off and they don't really know you that well, they're probably not even seeing your message.
So let's talk about that too. Let's talk about picking up the phone and calling somebody on their phone versus calling somebody on your phone on Facebook Messenger. Because I know some people I work with, they actually think it's the exact same thing. If I call you from my cell phone through Facebook Messenger and your phone rings, it's the same as me calling your phone number from my phone and your phone rings.
Yes, the difference is I can tell my phone not to let your Facebook Messenger call come through because it irritates me.
Right.
I can say that. So again, you might be batting 50%. If you call me on Facebook, you don't get me because my phone is set not to take it. I'm not interested. Nothing important that could interrupt my business life is going to happen by somebody calling me on Facebook Messenger. If they're calling me on Facebook Messenger, it'll be because we're already text chatting and have decided to start a call, not out of the blue.
Or the only reason they're calling you on Facebook Messenger is they don't have your personal phone number.
That's right.
So they don't. That's the only way they can call you, and then you leave a message.
Which means they're lazy because they haven't searched for me. They haven't put any effort whatsoever into me. They're doing the easiest thing.
Yeah.
The easiest thing doesn't work because we have tools to prevent people like you from doing the easiest thing to get a hold of us. So don't do the easiest thing.
Right.
You can't really turn off the phone number. And if someone picks up the phone and phones you, even though most of the time phone calls are free, it still just has higher value feeling when your phone rings from a phone than it does from a random person you barely know on Facebook.
Now let's talk about the phone call, because I have two little philosophies, depending if I'm making a personal phone call to somebody or making a business phone. Me, myself, I don't leave voicemails to personal people that I call. If they don't answer, they're a personal friend. They know I don't leave messages. They saw that I called on their cell phone
and they call you back.
And they call me back. Yeah. But I have to change my philosophy for business.
Yes.
Because if I did the same thing, I do leave a voicemail. It is a short voicemail, but I do leave a voicemail when it comes to business. And I think it's important that you take that extra 5 or 10 seconds to leave the voicemail. Now, the cool thing about the hour-a-day system is that there's a neat little button if you're using it that says left a message. So you actually have to leave a message to say you left a message, but that sends an automatic email to the person that says, I just left you a message. Check your voicemail. And I get more responses to the email that I left you a message than the actual message.
I think I used to say that I got 8 times more or something. And I can actually say now that I think the amount of times I get a call back versus an email might even be 0.
Yeah.
It might actually have evolved to where nobody ever phones back. It's always an email. So you got to pay attention to this stuff.
And mix it all up. People, they know emails are not dead.
They're not dead.
I mean,
if the content is good, and I know you're not pitching me, and I've already whitelisted you because you're my friend and you've built up the rapport, your stuff is going to come to me, and the first one might get read. And if it kept my attention, the second might. As soon as I start to feel I'm being sold to, I stop paying attention to you across all social media. So you can make the mistake anywhere. So that's okay. Yeah. If you're trying to eliminate me, that's good. But if you're actually thinking you're winning me by blasting me with information from all angles that I didn't ask for, you're not. Right. If you're trying to get me to a no, even if I was on the fence, you're going to do that quite effectively.
There you go. So basically what we're trying to share with you, everybody, is that there's some ways that you can do this right, and there's some ways that you can do it wrong. But you definitely need to follow up. You need to mix it up a little bit.
Just know that everyone's dealing in multiple ways. Your goal should always be to try and get an email. Right? So your goal should always be trying to get a phone number and an email, forming that rapport, getting them on an email list. If you have something of value that isn't just selling, getting them on a drip list of some sort that's giving them information so that you're collecting the data, because that does become a little underground touch that's going on. So even if they don't read it, they feel you reached out and they build up that feeling of guilt that it's my turn to contact back.
Yeah.
So, they say it takes six or eight contacts to make a sale. They say with social media now we're probably up to about 18. Don't do 18 of the same type of follow-up over and over and over and over.
No, it's like if I do leave a voicemail, I click the button that sends an email. I typically will also just I'll take the extra, send a text message. Hey, I just called, left you a voicemail. Yeah. And a lot of times, one of those three, I've now had 3 different types of ways of following up with the same person didn't answer. So if they like listening to messages, they're going to listen to the message.
And I do the same thing. And basically people come back to me sometimes and say, wow, you're really persistent. And when that used to happen, I'd sort of freeze and panic. And they go, that's really cool. That's great. There's no way that I missed your call. And obviously you're calling because you have something important to say. And that's because I'm doing not outbound marketing either. I'm replying to people who have said, I want information.
Yeah.
Oh, the other interesting thing about voicemails, I have changed my tactic. I used to say, yes, I'm Dennis Wilson with Internetnextstep.com, the MLM software company. Just phoning to give you some information about our sharing the risk pricing program like you requested. And you can reach me back at, no. Now I go, it's Dennis Wilson, the MLM software company, 604, blah, 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 blah. And then all of the blah, 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 blah. Right. You bury your number at the end of a 30-second message, the chances of them getting to your number are 0.
Yeah.
And of course, it's a problem for me because I leave a toll-free number, but I'm not dialing out on a toll-free number. So if I give them my toll-free number is right away, they start writing it down knowing that they can't just half pay attention to the message. So yes, phone number as fast as possible. And then whatever you have to say to them is actually really good in today's world to at least get them to write down your phone number.
And the only last little tip I give you is if you're doing a lot of phone calls and text messages in both Canada and the United States, for Canadians especially, if you think, in Canada, it's really easy. We have unlimited, usually texting and simple call and texting plans to the US where it's very inexpensive.
Well, it's actually not. It's inexpensive according to what we think, but all of our plans are way more than ones in the US, but they come with all the features. So we're actually some of the highest rates. But because of that, we don't realize that other countries have a lot of restrictions on stuff like can't send a text message to Canada.
So if that's the case, and because this is what happened to me, I'm text messaging people as I'm doing follow-up. I'm texting them from my Canadian phone, and I'm getting no response. And I'm wondering why. Well, they can't text back because they don't have a Canadian calling plan.
Yep.
And so what I did is when you actually found this, something called Line 2.
Line 2, I love it.
And you can get if you're an American, you can get a Canadian number. A Canadian can get an American number. And you dial it out as if it was a second line on your phone, but you can call and text with a different ring and a different text messaging right from your phone. So if you're prospecting in North America, I highly, it's like $10 a month.
Yeah.
It's really,
and what I love about it is I tend to sit down when I'm doing sales calls and I'm sitting with my 3 monitors and my cell phone. Line 2 allows you to initiate all your text messages from your computer, which is far more efficient if you're going to go through a list of 37 people to text message with our system. Boom, 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 way faster than doing it on your phone.
Yeah.
So the fact that I can do it from my computer is great. I sit there and my first thing every morning is I go through all the text message stuff. Once I've got all the text messages and line messages and all of my social media stuff, then I go to my calling list an hour a day and I start to call. And as soon as I get a live person on a call, of course, I'm no longer sitting in front of my computer because I'm a pacer. So I can put 20,000 steps on just doing sales calls.
There you go.
So yes, follow-up is really important. Having the tools like Line 2, hour a day to keep you on top of your follow-up. And then not just trying to follow up the same way all the time. Trying to get to a phone number, trying to get to a connection. Super, super important.
Last thing I want to talk about, and we talked about this in many of our trainings, but when you're going to do that follow-up, you're getting the call, the three-way phone call, the three-way follow-up is so crucial to your business. So that initial call, if you're doing it initially right off when you first connect with somebody, you're trying to set up a time to get them more information to follow up with that third party. Whether you're upline, sideline, somebody else.
Disclose that up front. Don't ambush them.
No.
So as you're talking to them, they've said they're interested. They've asked for more information. You give them the website. You give them the webinar. You invite them to presentation, whatever it may be. And then you say, now, do you think you can have a look at this by tomorrow night at 8? Yeah. Great. I'm going to give you a call back tomorrow night at 8:30 with one of the people that I work with that knows a lot more about it than I do, and will help to answer your questions. If they start backpedaling, so what?
Yeah.
They say, I don't want a third person. Well, then basically, even if you do get on the phone and talk to them and manage to sign them up, the chances of it moving forward with anything positive is almost zero. So if they start backing out and say, oh, look, I'm sorry, we have a really, really simple way of doing this business, and I just don't know the answers to all your questions. So to have a call with me alone, it's not going to work. But I thank you very much. If I can't get the other guy to help you out, probably best to not look at the information. I'd shut them down. I'd close them up. Boom. Yeah. They're not taking it serious if that's the way.
Well, they're not.
They'll never do a three-way call either, will they?
No, they'll never do a three-way. And really what they're telling you is they're really not interested.
That's right.
So they're really saying, I don't mind wasting your time, but you don't have another person on the phone.
That's right.
So that, because, you're the one so that doesn't work. So typically it's almost like I'll try.
That's right.
It's the same thing. No,
are
don't
you,
have
it. Are you going to come tomorrow night, Tuesday, 7 o'clock at the Sheraton Guildford?
I'll try.
Right. Yeah. You're not coming.
No, I'll try. No, Dennis, I know. Seriously, I'm going to try really hard.
No, I've had 14 people.
I've
had 14 prospects on the I'm going to try list.
But I'm going to really try, though, Dennis.
Well, no, the one that came was the one I picked up.
Yeah. But, and no matter how hard they say they're going to try, it's a simple way of saying, it's a nice way of saying, because what people think, I'm not going to come to your presentation. Right. But I told you I'll try, so you don't feel bad.
And I did try because, the universe just conspired against them. And they really tried in their brain to be there. But, goodness gracious, the baby needed to be changed. And they were a little bit hungry. And next thing you know it, there was no time to get there.
As we learned in our first trainings, back in our first university trainings, do or do not. there is no try. That's Yoda from Star Wars. But, I remember talking about, can you imagine if you're at the altar, you're finally getting married, and they say, till death do you part, you go, I'll try.
I'll try.
It's I do. It's
right.
Do or do not. Now, probably I'll try is the real answer you should be saying.
Mutual trying.
We try. But anyways, we digress. We hope you had a lot of fun learning a little bit about follow up. Different ways to do it. Check out the houraday.com site if you don't already have it. It is free. Dennis, tell them a little bit more about Hour a Day.
Hour a Day is your ultimate prospecting tool. It does your sales funnel. It does your follow-up through email autoresponders. You can do all your text messaging, your Facebook messaging, your line, your WhatsApp, all of your communications, all tracked, all controlled, sales funnels, surveys, A/B testing, you name it, built in for free, up to 2,000 communications.
But I'm sure I got to use my credit card, and there's something hidden in the back, right?
It's just free. When you get hooked on it and you have too much activity going on, you'll exceed the 2,000 communications, and then you'll have to pay the grand whopping price of $29.99 a month.
There you go. houraday.com. Hey, hope you had a lot of fun learning today. My name's Greg Peliquin.
And I'm Dennis Wilson.
Have yourself a good day.
Bye for now.